Welcome to Kandys Car Corner. I'm your host, Kandy Mitton. In this series, we're going to check on some very special cars and trucks and some antique ones, and the special passion that these owners have to keep these cars on the road. In our first pit spot, we're going to come right here to FrexRod, Fredericton's annual indoor car show.
This is a 1998 Corvette. It's a 350 with 350 horsepower. It's got less than 77,000 kilometers on it.
Wow.
We bought it in Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Now tell me, what is it that took your eye about this car specifically that made you and your husband want to get it?
We got it in the States, like I said before, but the price was good.
You're here with a group. Tell me a little bit about them.
We're called the River Valley Corvette Club, and we're one of 4 Corvette clubs in the province. And we go on Corvette runs all the time. It's just a fun club. We just do all kinds of things. For us, we enjoy the car. I mean, they're so much fun. Like, I mean, you drive and they're just like, they hug the road, they make the turns. They're just a great handling car.
So this motor stock is 275, 280 horsepower. So it's nothing too crazy, but it turns this little car on pretty good. Wanted one of these since I was 7 years old. So my brother, he was 7 years older than I was, and he was the one that used to bring the Hot Rod magazines home. And this is the one that kind of caught my eye when I was just a young fella, and so this is the one I built. I bought it. It's a fiberglass body, so a lot of people say they're kit cars, but far from a kit, because I had to scratch my head quite a few times while I was putting it together. So it's got an original 34 frame, so I totally took everything apart on the frame. It's got a Heights independent front suspension in it, triangulated 4-bar rear suspension in it. I got a 8.8 Explorer rear end that I use in the back. It had disc brakes already in it. I've got an LT1 350 engine in it. It came out of a Cadillac.
What was it that grabbed your eye about the style car in the catalog?
All you got to do is look at the lines of that car. I've worked on this car for 3 years. The first year I worked on it, and it's been sitting on jack stands for 3 or 4 months, and I got it going, and I was all excited. I'm going to take it for a drive, and I took it outside and parked it, and I forgot something. I had to go to the house and get something. And when I was walking back and I looked at it sitting on the ground, like at the right height it's sitting at, I was like, look at the lines on that. It's just gorgeous, right?
How do you get the door open?
Well, you just have to push the button. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. What was involved with putting that in?
Well, there's a big solenoid inside, and there's a relay, and it just runs off the remote. And there's a door latch that pulls the cable, and it pulls the latch. And the trunk's automatic also.
Now that is pretty cool. Now Brent, as we start to look around FrexRod, it's usually a car show, but this is a bike. Tell me about your bike.
It's a 2013 Harley Davidson FL HR. I customized it 2 years ago, and I've had it actually in FrexRod last year as well. So it's fun to do.
Now, what inspired you to buy a bike? Have you always been a bike guy, or is this something that struck you a few years ago?
I had dirt bikes as I was a kid, and I fell in love with the Harley, and it's a brand name that everybody knows, so it was easy to go with that bike. I'm a Road King type Harley guy, but all the bagger type Harley Davidsons is what I would prefer. I'm just more, they call it a bagger with the bags on the side of it. That's a nickname for it.
What we have here is Drew Greenlaw's Sportsman number 23 from Speedway 660. Just going to show you a few things inside the cockpit. I'm going to hop in. There's no door, so you got to go through the window. So you just hop in through the window, and I got to slide in through here. The steering wheel is not like an ordinary car. You have to take it off to get in the car and put it back on when you get in. Okay, cars today are all about safety. These seats are built to form around your head to stop concussions, with your helmet to stop your head movement. So big safety items these days are key. This car is my son's. He's 19 years old and he races out at Speedway 660 in the Sportsman division.
Tell me a little bit about the stock car class and what you might have to do to a car to make it applicable.
Totally not for the road. It's totally custom. There are chassis builders like Lonnie Somerville in St. John that builds these race cars. And he built this car for us, for my son. And there's a lot of hours that go into these cars to get them ready for race day.
How far do you have to travel to get here, and why would you do that?
It's a 2.5-hour drive for us coming from Eastport, Maine. We're the only full-time racing team from Maine that race at Speedway 660. It's where I raced as a young fella, and it's still family. Like my father used to race, so I know a lot of the competitors there, and now my son's racing against other guys that I raced against son. It's one cycle, I guess.
Now, you mentioned that you run full-time. To everybody who doesn't participate in racing, give them an idea of how many weekends that might be and when it starts and when it ends.
We start May 14th and we go right straight through to Labor Day weekend in September.
And is that every weekend?
Almost. There's a few weekends off in between to give us a break, but just almost every weekend.
When you come to a car show like FrexRod, tell me what you personally like to see here.
Well, people attending for sure. It's nice to see people around and checking out the cars and just to show them what it's about. But it's also to catch up with the crew and all the other drivers that are attending here, and to catch up over the winter, what they're doing and what's going on.
Now, this car doesn't look like anything I'm going to drive every day. Tell me what's special about it.
The special thing about this car, it's a full-blown race car,
Okay.
but also street legal. We run it in classes where it goes on the street for different competitions. It, as you can see, has headlights, signal lights, mufflers. It's kind of scary to call it street legal, but we get away with that.
How rare is it to have a car that you can drive on the street and go 200 miles an hour at the racetrack?
Very rare. There's only a handful around that are capable of doing that.
Now tell me, what's the fastest pass you've made with that car?
200 mile an hour plus.
So tell me, how much horsepower would an engine like that have?
We run just over 2,000 horsepower with nitrous.
So how big in cubic inches would that be?
706 cubic inches.
That's pretty impressive.
Well, it's a start, yeah.
Do you get much for gas mileage?
No, it's gallons per mile.
Now, how many is on your pit crew? What's it take to run something?
6. Normally 6 guys at the track.
So tell me, what's involved with driving something like this?
Well, every pass we make, we check the engine out, redo it, reset the clutch. Sometimes have to suspend the suspension. We have to adjust to the tracks. It's all about getting hooked up on the track with traction control. A lot of it we can do right from the car, plus what they put down at the track. 2 years ago, we did fastest car for Canada in Ontario, and we took the prize home. We've held that since '06, Canada's fastest street car.
Welcome back to Kandys Car Corner. In this part of the show, we're going to see some more specialty cars and trucks and check out more antiques. Wait, maybe antique isn't the best word. Maybe ancient is a better word. FrexRod even has its own dinosaur exhibit this year.
All right, so this is it's a replica T-Rex skeleton. So we brought it all the way from Ottawa.
Give us an idea how big this dinosaur actually is.
So this skeleton's about 38 feet long, which is about average size for a T-Rex. Usually takes about 6 to 8 hours to put together without any problems, so on a good day.
Now give us an idea about the other special guest that's going to make an appearance later.
Well, his name is Rexy, and he's similar to this, but he'll be walking around the car show later today.
tell me, what is this car that's behind us, and what does that car mean to you?
It means everything to me because it meant everything to Gerald. He had one similar when he was younger, had to sell it like so many people raising a family. We found this one and restored it, and we restored it the way we wanted it. So it was a team effort, and it's very special to us.
Now tell us, what year and make and model is this car?
It's a 1967 Dodge Charger Fastback. It's got a 440 wedge engine. And other than having it for 10 years, I don't know the rest of the insides. It is a driver. We've taken her as far as Miramichi under her own steam. We try to trailer it to other car shows because it's very hard on gas. And because of the 410 gears in the back, in the rear end, she doesn't like the highway. But we do drive her around town a lot. We go to the local car shows. We'll take it out for coffee and just have a great time with it.
Now you mentioned it took quite a while to find this car. Where did you find it, and how hard was it to find it?
We'd been looking for quite a while. We saw an ad posted. Somebody in Cambridge Narrows had it. It took 9 months to do, because it went on the rotisserie, so it was just like having a baby. A full 9 months, and then another year or so of tinkering.
Well, it's a car I've always wanted. Ever since the 350 came out, and back in 2003. And now the 370, they changed slightly. They have a little bit bigger motor in them, a little more power and stuff, and redesigned it a little bit. But I always wanted one.
Now anyone can go out and buy a Nissan with this model, but you've done some things that makes this one special to you. Tell me what some of those things were.
Yeah, well, I've put a full fiberglass stereo in the back of it, two 10-inch subs, 1,800 watts, lots of power. And then I actually installed a supercharger in it to give it some more get up and go. Put some 20-inch wheels and tires on it, lowered it, and made it work really good and sound really good.
Now you mentioned fiberglassing. For those of us not in the business, tell us what that actually means. Are you making them?
And I've always wanted to get into fiberglassing, stereo installs, and it's a little bit lighter. You can do different shapes with it, and it sounds better in a fiberglass enclosure. So I've always wanted to do that, and I finally got a car that I really wanted to do that too. But yeah, I put two 10-inch Rockford subs in it, an 1,800 watt amplifier for them, and then I put two Rockford T5 speakers in the front. They're 6.5s, and then tweeters in the dash, and it's all custom fiberglass installed, and it just sounds really well.
Now, what do you use this car for? Do you participate in any special events, or do you just drive it to enjoy?
Mostly just enjoy, take it to some car shows, just to get out and meet some new people.
Now, besides this car, when you come to FrexRod, what are some of the other vehicles that you personally enjoy seeing here?
Well, I like the imports, I guess, myself mostly, but I do enjoy the old cars. Just a lot of customizing, talk to people that actually, hands-on did it themselves. I just have respect for that, I guess. And people follow their dreams, and everyone likes a different type of car, but we're all in the same boat.
The car that we have here is a 1961 Chevy Bel Air station wagon, and as you can see, it's been modified just a little bit. It has an air ride suspension, satin black paint, custom interior, and a few other little touches as well.
Now, one thing that I noticed that was very unique, I noticed some interesting paint under the hood. Tell me about it.
What happened is, under the hood, it's got a little bit different type of air breather. It's one from an earlier model year Cadillac, and it's actually been pinstriped, all hand painted by an artist up in Ontario. There's a really good pinstriper who's going to be to New Brunswick later this summer, and I'm actually going to give him the car and tell him it's a blank canvas. So I'll let him express himself on the car.
So tell me, what's under the hood for a power plant?
It's a Chev wagon. It's all Chev drivetrain, small block 350, basically a bare bone stock engine, Rochester Quadrajet. It does have headers, and right now it has a 3-speed automatic transmission. I may swap that out for a 4-speed at some point in time, but for now, I'm just enjoying the car the way it is.
Now, would you drive this car very often? Where would you go with it?
It's not a daily driver, but get home from work, want to go for a nice little drive, a little stress reliever, my wife and I will hop in the car, we'll go. This will be the first summer for this car in New Brunswick, and I'm looking forward to showing it off.
Jamal, tell me about your car.
It's a 2005 Smart 2.4. It's a turbo diesel. It has a 0.78 liter 3-cylinder engine, which is smaller than a bag of milk.
Why would you pick a car like this? There's plenty of cars to pick from on the market. Why this one?
Well, if you're looking at running around town, how much car do you really need? Often we go with the kids, one person in the car, you're driving around town. So how much space do you need? We thought we'd give this a try. We were using about $260 worth of fuel in 2 weeks of driving kids back and forth to dance, school, what have you. We do the same traveling in this car for about $16. Well, if you're driving around town, I'm not sure how many stoplight races we're having with these things. But once you're off the line, this has plenty of power to keep up with the public. It has 40 horsepower, but it also has 92 pounds-feet of torque, and 2 guys can pick it up who weightlift at UNB. We were in the parking lot at UNB. They picked it up and turned it around.
Now, as I look at that car, it's certainly smaller than what we're used to seeing on the roads. How safe is it?
That car, if you look at it, that has a gray outside frame around it. It's the same steel they use in Indy race cars. Wow. This is actually safer than the majority of compact and subcompact cars that are on the market today. It meets the top safety rating in crash tests in all the European tests.
Now, when you walk around a show like FrexRod, tell me some of the vehicles that will really take your eye or that you're on the look for to see.
You know, it's interesting, as a person who likes cars in general and motors and horsepower, everything interesting, whether it be a 39 Merc, hot rod, or it's a 57 Corvette, or a Hummer, Dodge Charger. If you're a car person, you're a car person.
Welcome back to Kandys Car Corner. I'm your host, Kandy Mitton. In this final part of the show, we're going to check out the FrexRod Awards, and we're going to see some of the praise and awards that these people are going to win for the hard work and dedication that they've put into their vehicles.
So our first category is Best Paint, and our winners are car number 136, Brian Evans, that's 35 Chev. Car number 221, Dan Daigle, with your 2006 Yamaha bike. And car 225, Gerald Malley with the 67 Dodge Charger.
Now this is a very unique paint on this car. Tell me how you chose this unique purple color.
It's a custom paint. He decided he wanted purple. I was right with it because I love purple.
We can see that.
And it was a complicated process. We started from a base color from House of Colors, and we got our gentleman who was doing the work for us. We customized it. We said a little bit of red, a little bit more red. We actually had it colors on 3 pop bottles. And 2 weeks we agonized. Oh, wow. We put it out on the front deck, upside down, standing up straight, and we finally chose one.
The next award is Best Vendor Display, and I think everybody in the room will have no problem agreeing with the selection for the Best Vendor Display. And that goes to Porter's Diner. Paul Porter, certainly want to thank him for all the work that went into it. And this is going to Lynn Cormier, 116.
Now we are in front of this beautiful Mustang that belongs to Lynn and Jason. There is a great story about this car. Do one of you guys want to share that with me?
Well, the car was original Bill Hickey's car. He owned Once Again Sports in Amherst, and him and his wife bought it in 1983 and drove it home. And after that, he started building a race car, started ripping it apart, and they're gearheads together. And what they did is got it almost finished. They had a lot of work into it, and unfortunately, Bill passed away before he finished the project. So Liz reached out to us, and we ended up acquiring the car, and we kind of finished it on his behalf.
So what does it mean to you two, after all the blood, sweat, and tears, to actually take Best in Show home?
Well, it's been an emotional build on this one. We really enjoyed the project, but Best in Show just means that we're really going to be recognized for the year, be able to promote FrexRod for next year, and show Billy, Hickey, and Liz just how much effort we put into this, and show the rest of Atlantic Canada.
Give us an idea of how many years of work you've put into this car, and what types of jobs you had to do along the way.
We had a lot of help. I mean, we have a lot of friends that are all great builders, and you know, to get everybody together to put this together in about a year and a half. I mean, we were in the garage every night and every weekend that we weren't racing.
It was a real team effort. A lot of people helped. Yeah, we did. But it was a complete restoration, obviously. So, yeah, a lot of people helped.
So how excited are you guys to think about what this is going to mean for next year, knowing that you're going to be the character, this car is going to be the design for everything for FrexRod in 2018?
We're so proud. We're so proud to be able to do this for him and for Liz and get out there and actually say, like, you know, it's done. We're going to be able to go pick her up, get to Amherst, go to a car show.
Put a few miles on it, yes.
And maybe spin the tires a few times.
Best engine, this is presented by Porter's Diner. And best engine is going to car number 137, Boo King with 68 Camaro.
The engine in the car is pretty technical. There's lots of nitrous, and anyway, it's kind of cute. So anyway, that's probably why I won that one.
This is a best vehicle display, and it's presented by Fredericton Hyundai, and it also goes to car number 137.
We brought the golf cart, and this is my coffee table at my house. This tire with a glass on it, and anyway, I don't have a coffee table until tonight, when we take it back home.
Now, for anybody that's not a drag racer, explain to us what this table is actually made of.
In '08, I crashed this car, and it broke one of the back wheels right off, and this was the one off the other side. Well, the boys wouldn't let me run those wheels again because they went over 8.5 times. So I had to buy new wheels, and this is the one that wasn't damaged. And I thought, what a great coffee table. So with the tire on it, we blew it up, and I got a piece of glass for the top, and it's ideal for a man cave.
Now, knowing that you've won both of these awards, tell me personally, after all the work that you and your team put into this car, how that makes you feel to be taking these home.
Oh, good.
Car number 128, Patrick Tebow with his 1934 Ford, the beautiful red coupe sitting in front of the stage here. Car number 134, Adam Bird with his 2004 Mustang.
Now tell us what this car actually holds an award for in Atlantic Canada.
The fastest drag radial car in Atlantic Canada at the moment, and the post-1974 Ford award here at the FrexRod.
Now, as we can see, this car is very special and designed for drag racing, hence the roll cages and some of that. Tell us what's special about this engine.
It's custom built by Adam himself at Central Auto Parts. Produces approximately 1,895 horsepower. Pro-charged, F3 Pro-charger on it, and 415 cubic inch small block Ford.
And President's Choice is going to vehicle number 101. It's a 1940 Chev truck owned by Robert Waite.
Trophy, it was perfect. It was perfect. Yeah, I enjoyed winning that. I've been to a lot of car shows over the years. I win a lot of trophies off and on, but this one here is one of the best. Well, it's a 1940 Chev, and I bought it last fall, November, and then rebuilt it over the winter, but it was totally original from Saskatoon. Yeah, and then street rodded it this winter, and that's what I ended up with.
This year, it's going to car number 225, Gerald Malley with 67 Charger.
And we won the People's Choice, which I am thrilled with that one because it means that everybody who came out to the show liked our car, and that's a big part of it, is doing something that other people get enjoyment from too. I've spoken to so many people who had those kind of cars, and it brings back a lot of memories to some of those people who drove 66s and 67s back when they were new.